Daisie and Désirée coming here to brighten your day. Yeah.
We are just going to wait for some folks to come on into the live.
Oh, yes.
And then we'll get started. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hi. We are taping an episode of Daisie and Désirée, and we decided to have it live so that we can interact with the good folks.
Yes, so
Hey,
welcome. Come on in.
Let's wave to the good people. Hey, hey, hey. If y'all don't know, this is my mom, Daisie Lee.
Hello, everybody.
And we are having our first episode of season 2 of Daisie and Désirée. And we're just talking about...
For 2021.
Yeah, for 2021. What are we talking about today?
Managing challenges in relationships. Specifically, mother-daughter.
Yes. I know a lot of times we have that issue.
Not a lot of times.
No, we as a community.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Thank you for joining.
Mm-hmm.
So, while other people are coming in, I want to know what has been a challenge that you as my mom had with me as your daughter? Because I'm sure there was only one issue, right?
Well, I hope you are all ears because there was one yes that specifically stood out.
Mm-hmm.
Before Désirée went away to college, we were inseparable.
Mm-hmm.
We were going places, eating the same foods, playing games, and then college came.
Howard University, to be exact. Hello, hello.
It was time for her to just go on and into the world, which I was really happy about. But Désirée went out there and she made a difference in her life. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that it was going to make a difference in my life. Ooh. Désirée came home from college. I was so excited. She came home with independence. Mm-hmm. And that independence wound up being kind of scary for me. And I'll tell you why. Désirée no longer ate the same foods.
Not me.
She had new friends.
That's beautiful.
She had a boyfriend.
That's right.
She was coming in and out late nights.
Listen, I was a different Des. I was partying it up. I was having a good old time.
Well, you know what? That was kind of different for me because you were my baby. Mm-hmm. She was my baby, and now she came back this woman with her own way of doing things, which really was nice, but not for me as a parent. Because parents, you know, we do so many things for our kids before they go away. And you can go into the room, her room, anytime. I mean, it was just so many different things that were unusual.
Yes, and for those just joining, we're talking about challenges within a relationship, either mother-daughter, father-daughter, father-son, etc. So that's what we're talking about. And she, my dear mother, is talking about when I came from college, came home from college, and lost my mind. So
she had her own way of doing things, and I just couldn't handle it. Well, actually, I could handle it, but one day it happened where she went into the refrigerator and she was like, I don't like this. I don't like that. And I was like, God, I went to the shop, I went to the supermarket, got the things that she liked. What happened? And then one thing led to another, and I was so upset. That was the very first time, this was like 13 years ago, very first time that we had a disagreement, and I went to bed crying. crying.
Don't rub it in.
Because I couldn't understand. Well, who is this person? Who's this new person that walked into this door? You know, she came in and defiance came in with her. So it was really, really difficult for me. So the next day, we weren't speaking in the morning. She stayed in her room and I went off to work. And the entire day at work, I was very sad and I couldn't think of anything else. I couldn't think of my job. I couldn't think of my work. And that was very unusual because I always know how to separate my personal life and my work life. So when it was time for me to go home, I really dreaded going home. The very first time in all our years together.
And I was 18 at this time.
Yes.
This is a very long time ago, just for context.
Yes. Well, I did say 13 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So then I'm on the express bus because I like to take the express bus. I love comfort going to work and coming home from work. Gather my thoughts. And as I'm on the express bus, I'm sitting there, the last seat in the back, and I'm looking and I'm thinking about you. And I was saying,
She's
oh my
big
God.
mad still.
No, I'm not. So I'm taking advantage of this situation, right? This live. So I decided that there's no way I'm going to walk into my house and be uncomfortable in our own place. So what I did was I wrote her a letter. And this letter, and I can't remember it word for word, but what I said was in the letter, something to the effect that I know you have new likes now. We'll work on that. We'll work on the types of foods that you like to eat. I talked about, well, if you like to come home late at night, I'll leave off one lock because I usually put on two locks. Two locks she can't get in. One lock she can get in. And I talked about, well, if you're going to have a boyfriend, you can't do the things that I do. Or I don't do in my house, so you can't do what I don't do in my house. And what else? So to that effect, I was writing these things. And then I was happy, of course, while I'm writing, I'm crying. And I'm so glad I was sitting in the back of the bus so nobody could see me. But I was crying and I said, folded up the letter, put it in a little envelope, came into the house. She was locked in her room. I knocked on the door and I said, here you go. And then she took the letter and I'm waiting patiently, in the front. And she comes in and she says, Mommy, you're funny. You wrote me a letter? And I was like, and she looked at me, I looked at her and she said, I'm so sorry. And I appreciated that so much. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. Because you just don't know.
Yeah. So
yeah.
That was a challenging time, obviously, for my mom and I. And, well, actually, before I go into that, what was the reason why you decided to use a letter as the item that's really going to help us get through this challenging time? Like, what was the reason for the letter, and why did you choose that?
So there are two reasons. One is that when you put it in paper, when you put paper to pen, and somebody have to read it, they can just continue reading it over and over again to understand what you're going through. Mm-hmm. Okay,
that's a great point. Say that again.
When you put pen to paper. Mm-hmm. A person can read it over and over again to understand what a person is trying to say. Sometimes when you verbalize things, people don't understand.
So true.
And the other thing is that when Désirée was younger, I used to write her congratulatory letters. And one of them was, she did really good in school And a family friend of ours, or a classmate of hers, they were all going to this amusement park. And so I wrote her a letter earlier that week, and I mailed it to her. And I said, you can go to this event. And
I remember that.
Yeah. and she
the
was
Six Flags.
The Six Flags.
Mm-hmm.
And she loved that.
Yeah.
And the smile, for me to see that smile on her face when she got that mail, it was beautiful. So that's what made me write the letter, because that was a beautiful time in our lives. And I figured it can work again this time. And it did.
Yeah, even for a challenging situation, it was helpful.
Yes.
Yeah, and I actually like receiving letters, even for difficult conversations, because like you said, you get to read it over and over again, and you don't have the noise of the emotions in the time. You're not, building and building all of this energy that you can't really speak to in that moment. It's better like take your time,
right,
read the letter, then you can like formulate your thoughts.
Because sometimes, like you said, I can't express myself that well as far as when I'm very emotional. So when I'm emotional, I can spatter off stuff, and sometimes you just don't know what's going to come out of your mouth.
Well,
so that's my suggestion, is to really write a letter to clear the air on anything. What about you? Did you have any challenging things about your mother?
Listen, this one, that one, this one, that one, that one.
She do have stuff. She
No.
does. She has stuff.
I do. And I think it's important to highlight the duality of relationships. A lot of time on Instagrams and these social medias, we just see one view or aspect of a relationship. But it's very important to also discuss challenges and how we overcome them, how we overcame them. And even today, we still have challenges, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. But to go back to what I have experienced.
Uh-oh.
So my mom is very, very loving, very, very caring. She like adores me, which is really nice. However, my mom can be incredibly nosy. Like wildly nosy.
Well, you know what? Let me say something about that really quickly. Okay, when she says I'm nosy, you know what I say about nosy? I say that if you're involved with someone's life all their lives, and then you all of a sudden you can't hear or see anything anymore, you have to kind of guess what's going on, so it makes you appear to be nosy, but it's really not. I'm just always just wanting to know what's going on in her life, because that's what I've always known in her life.
That is the definition of nosy.
Yes, it is.
I'm glad we have this on camera for my grandchildren, for your grandchildren. So, no, but it's really important to say, because as we mature, as we get older, we don't want our parents in all of our business. It's not necessarily that we are hiding anything. I'm not a secretive person. As you all know, I speak my life very openly and honestly. It's just some things are sacred to us. Some things you just want to keep to yourself. And I have had that difficulty with my mom. And so what I did, what were you going to say? What?
I'm trying to hear.
Oh, okay. So what I did, and Letitra says that she's going through this as well.
Hi, Letitra. I miss you, darling.
Yeah, this happens a lot because we get older and we're so close to our parents, especially, to be honest, especially with single moms, because we have that kind of like tight-knit bond. But can bring challenges. Back to the story. And Jennifer said, I think our generation is more open than our parents' generation, actually. I definitely agree.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we are definitely way more open. We talk about, quote unquote, taboo topics that we weren't talked about at all.
That's true.
If you consider my whole lineage, we're all relatively close. But if you think about our relationship versus you and grandma versus her and her mom, it's like
children had to be quiet, had to be not seen. We can be seen but not heard.
Right. Yeah. So every generation we're kind of losing those tight-knit ropes on what the protocol is between a mother-daughter relationship, right? Which is actually kind of a great thing. Father-son, whatever the dynamics are. So, thank you. They said, Joey got soul. I think that is Andrew's son.
Oh, hi, Aaron.
So, what I did, I was having difficulties with my mom in 2019, and it was becoming a little bit of animosity. We weren't really speaking as much, and we had a middleman at times, which was my gram, who would kind of be the filter between us because it was a little bit difficult. And so I decided to...
No, but why was it difficult?
You were just nosy.
Okay. And to me, that's kind of minor, but go ahead.
No, for me it wasn't because it made me very uncomfortable.
I understood.
Do you understand?
You want to get on me right now.
So, so
what did you do?
I took you to lunch, and I decided, hey, it's very important that we have this conversation. I was very calm in my tone, and I just expressed what was my experience of her. It's not a battle. I'm not looking to say, you did this and you did that. It's very important that I'm just expressing, this is my experience of you. And that has a different connotation than like, you're nosy, I don't like it. Totally different.
She brought me to a nice restaurant too.
It was a nice restaurant, Jamaican and vegan. You can't beat that. So... yeah, that's what I did. And what I did with that conversation when I was looking at you to see if you were receptive.
And was I?
You were very receptive, and I was very thankful for that. And I feel like that conversation was like the impetus of even Désirée and Désirée. Like if that conversation didn't happen, we really would not have been able to continue to grow and have these kind of conversations today that we can bring to you all. So that... to me, that lunch was a shift in our relationship.
And it's true. Every body or every day is not the same. There'll always be something that you disagree with, agree with, and it's always good to talk about what that is. Because, again, and I've said this in the past, you don't want things to fester up here. And I have a tendency not to let anything fester. And that's why it's good to talk about things. If you don't talk about it, it festers and it becomes worse. It becomes worse. In your mind, it becomes worse. But that doesn't necessarily mean the situation is that bad.
That's true.
You see, so you want to make sure and discuss it.
That's true. And also, if you're having a difficult conversation, it's so important to notice, is this person receptive to what I'm trying to convey to them? You have to look at their body language. You have to look to see, are they just sitting there looking at you like this?
Yeah, like whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Or are they more relaxed? Are they engaged with you? Are they making eye contact? Are they rolling their eyes? Are they willing and... open to the conversation. So that's first and foremost, is noticing that. And then secondly, are they willing to hear you drop the seeds? Sometimes people aren't ready for the conversation, but at least you can plant the seeds within their mind that this is something that is bothering you, that is bothersome for you. And maybe they won't listen in that conversation. Maybe they won't listen in the next conversation. But at least they have heard you.
And also, too, with that being said, If they did not hear you, then schedule another appointment. Say, next Friday, are you available? Let's have a conversation then. Don't let it just sit there because you still feel uncomfortable about what's going on.
That's true.
So not reschedule, but schedule again until you can just get it out of your system. And it doesn't have to be a whole week later either. It can be 2 days. Mm-hmm. Just make sure that you just get it off of your mind.
Yeah. And thirdly, what I would say is you have to know when somebody is a brick wall.
Oh,
okay?
I don't know that person.
I do.
You do? Who's a brick wall? Oh, never mind.
I won't say. But.
Never mind.
Save yourself.
Yes.
So, hi. I have to read some of these comments. Mm-hmm. Some mothers are Yep, and Janine, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about. Janine says some mothers just shut down because they aren't open to having these type of discussions. And that's exactly what I wanted to mention is you have to know when you are dealing with a brick wall. And there are certain times where some people are absolutely not emotionally available. And so your healing cannot be predicated upon that person. Mm-hmm. Your healing has to be internal. Mm-hmm. You have to go inside yourself. You have to do some writing down. You have to do a releasing ceremony. That's a story for another day, but...
Gotta chill with that one.
So with a brick wall, that doesn't mean that the person is not going to come around eventually. Mm-hmm. It just means that in this time and in this space is not the time for that kind of conversation. And that's okay.
And that's where journaling comes in.
Yeah.
Okay? Journaling, you write your thoughts down. Write your thoughts down because guess what? There will be a time when the brick wall will start crumbling down.
It's true.
Okay? And then you would go back to your notes.
Yeah.
And have that discussion.
Absolutely, because even in my life, there's somebody or perhaps two people who are quite close to me, and there are certain conversations that I knew I had to use my own discernment to notice that, okay, this person is not ready for this kind of conversation, and so I left it alone, and come to find out, perhaps a year later, 2 years later, maybe 10 years later, to be honest, for some folks, they were able to hear me. Finally. And so if I was steady trying to push down that brick wall for all of those years, I'd be stressed out and I'd be really resentful. And so it's very important to have the discernment on one, when somebody is open and receptive, like my mom was in our initial conversation when I took her out to eat to have that challenging conversation. Two, when somebody is ready just for you to plant the seeds on how you are feeling, what you are experiencing of that person. And then thirdly, know when you are dealing with a brick wall.
Oh, yeah. I know that one is a difficult one.
That is the hardest one.
But know that you still can escape by doing your journaling, by just your thoughts. The main thing is just taking it out of your mind.
Yes.
That's the main thing. Removing it from your mind, putting it to paper or computer, take a Kindle, find a book that you can read that has those topics of what you want to discuss. That's what I feel. Agreed. I want you to read the notes.
Yes, Aaron said, real talk, this is beautiful. This is something people in my generation can't understand to have with their own folks. You two are doing something amazing and it's appreciated.
Oh, thank you so much. Aaron. Thank you.
It's so important to have these conversations because they are difficult, but in difficulty breeds growth. So we must have these difficult conversations if you find that you can plant the seed or somebody is actually receptive to, a further conversation.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So,
if you have questions, let us know. This is episode 1 of Désirée and Désirée, our second season.
Woohoo! So, every week we are going to have a different topic. We'll bring you all in. You can all let us know what kind of conversations you want, what questions you have.
And I hope this touched a little bit about teenagers.
Yeah.
This is just that was just the iceberg.
Yes, and she's saying that because someone wanted a conversation about teenagers,
yes.
And y'all are gonna hear about my teen years when I was wilding in these streets. No, I was not wilding in these streets.
Oh yes, she was kind of.
Yeah, I was. So,
that would be one of the episodes.
Yeah, that would be one of the episodes.
Yeah, we like to just let you know as it comes what the next episode will contain.
Yes, absolutely. Janine said, "This is paving the way to bridging generational conversation gaps." So lovely. Thank you both. Thank you, Janine. Love you. That was an excellent topic of yours.
Welcome. Thank you.
Oh, and my doula sis said, "So beautiful, daughter and mother." Hi, thank you so much.
You.
Thank you. So
I think that's it.
Yep.
That's it. We appreciate you coming out, and we look forward to hearing your comments. Also, this will be aired on YouTube. So look forward and look for more.
Yes, we would not be a YouTuber if we didn't say like, comment, share, subscribe. So
don't forget to press all.
Yes, turn on your notifications so that you can let us know when the next episode, so that you can find out when the next episodes are. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
As you know, Mama Sprav always wanted to be a talk show host, and look at her. Check her out.
Yeah, but check her out. She is a host herself, all by herself.
No, this is a duo.
It is a duo, and I love it. And this is a great way to journal. YouTube journal, IG journal, your own lives.
That's right. Have a beautiful night. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.